fellow romance readers, I'm Amy.
And I'm Sarah, and this is Post-Book Depression. You know that feeling you get when you finish a good book that you didn't want to end?
Have you finished a book and just weren't ready to move on from the story and its beloved characters? You find yourself needing just a little more? This multi-trope romance podcast gives you the opportunity to dig deeper with us into books we love as we discuss all the reasons we can't move on.
Feeling chatty? You can continue the conversation with us on Instagram at Post-Book Depression Podcast or on Facebook in our Post-Book Depression discussion group.
We would be so grateful if you would subscribe to our podcast and take a moment to leave a review.
Are you ready? Let's discuss.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Amy.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're going to be discussing Falling for You Again by Kerry Lonsdale.
The first few minutes we're going to do a brief review of the story without any spoilers. Then we are going to shift over into a deeper book discussion. It's going to include lots of spoilers, but don't worry. As always, we are going to let you know before we do shift over into that deeper book discussion.
That's right. So before we dive in, Amy, tell us a little bit about the story.
A young woman's family business is being threatened to be sold out from under her, so she seeks out the one person she thinks can help stop the sale. Her ex-husband, the son of the competitor, set to buy the business. Sarah, what did you think about Falling for You Again?
I loved this story. I love the woodworking aspect and the artistry that she has. I love the concept of this because I don't know how much I can say, and we might have to wait till the full discussion, but
I mean, you can talk about the trope. It is a marriage of convenience trope.
Yes, marriage of convenience. I love the way it was done.
Okay.
It was like a little unrealistic, but it worked in this world of fiction. So it just made me happy. Like, I want this to be somebody's story and it work. Does that make sense?
It does to me. I'm here for the ride. Okay. I also liked that the female main character did the woodworking part of this. I have never read a story where the female was the one that did the woodworking, carving, all that, table building, all of that good stuff. The marriage of convenience, it's so heartwarming, and this story really gave me all the feels.
Me too.
I was here for it.
Me too.
All right, let's get into those ratings. Angst.
This was a 2.
Okay, I did 1.5.
Yeah, there was one thing in particular that amped it for me. And also, I don't relate to the female character, like her take on marriage and relationships, and we'll dive more into that. So her mentality caused me some, like, angsty feelings.
The angst for me came from I struggled a bit with the lack of communication between the female main character and her family.
There was some angst there too.
There was a major gap between communication amongst them, and that made it very angsty for me.
Yeah.
Or drove that up for me.
Yeah.
Humor.
This is like a 1.5. I kind of felt
I did 1.
There's some funny moments in it.
Lighthearted. Spiciness.
1.
1. Not a ton and tastefully done.
Yes.
Tears.
I put 0.25 just because of the dynamic with her family. But I did not cry.
Yeah, like I did 0.5. Same.
Yeah.
No crying. I was more intrigued with this story than sad.
Yeah, me too.
Overall,
this is a 4.25. I really liked it.
I did too.
It was a cute story. It was just, we'll talk more about
heartwarming is the word that I like to describe
it. It's a good word. Heartwarming.
That concludes a spoiler-free quick review of our story. Now we're going to shift over into a deeper book discussion that's going to include lots of spoilers. So if you haven't read this story, go check it out and then come back and join us on our deeper discussion. We would love to connect with you on social media. You can find us on Instagram at Post-Book Depression Podcast, on Facebook in our Post-Book Depression discussion group, and you can also email us at postbookdepressionpodcast@gmail.com. We begin learning about Uncle Bear.
Yeah.
And his bearisms.
Yeah.
Their family owns this woodworking business called Artisant. And Uncle Bear is the one who owns that. And she's set to inherit that. Let's talk about Uncle Bear and his bearisms. The main one being, you can't mix business with love. How'd you feel about that?
I disagree.
Me too. 100%.
I highly, highly disagree with that because my husband and I don't have a business together, but we work incredibly well together, and that is our goal, is to the business that my husband owns for me, when our kids get older, to join him in that. And I love their job because my husband and I like to do woodworking, so I was
yes.
it's one of my favorite things. Like, I would give anything to go into their woodworking shop. I love the smell of it.
I love the smell of it too.
It's so good. So
As
I
an-
was here for the job, but I was not here for the bearisms.
Yeah, same. On the wood aspect of that, I could just... I mentioned in the quick review, I love it that the female main character, this was her career, because you don't find that very often, and I loved that about them.
I know.
Mellie's family, like I said, owns this woodworking shop, Artisant, and it's early on in the story that she comes across an email that Uncle Bear has made an agreement to sell the business to Savant House, which is kind of a competitor. They do furniture and things like that in the housing market.
They kind of buy other companies.
Yes, yeah. Not only is he made an agreement to sell to Savant House, he has started negotiating her future without her consent or knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so frustrated and annoyed on her behalf.
I was too, especially because it was understood that she was going to inherit the family business. And it felt very much like he completely undermined her and just left her out of the loop. And it wasn't even so much the selling, but just the, I'm going to secure you a position with them as well without even consulting her. I mean,
And
this
her
is like
designs.
a woman, was she like 29, 30 something years old? Yes, and her designs.
Like her intellectual property, he's signing away.
I know.
Oh.
And she didn't have the copyright or anything for it. Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I was disgusted on her behalf that he was treating her this way. It was really...
Well, and we know that her parents work here at Artisan. They have for a long time, and they have this really weird dynamic. They're very quiet. It's very weird. We're going to get into the parents, but yes, we'll come back to that. But let's put a pin in that.
Yeah.
And move over to the fact that Mellie is trying very hard to come up with some way that she can renege this deal or keep it from happening. And she thinks about her ex-husband. We learned that she was married to a guy named Aaron, who happens to be, he works for Savant House. His parents are there. He's kind of a big deal.
He's supposed to take over it kind of thing. Yeah.
So apparently Savant House is putting on this gala. And so she's decided she's going to go there and have a chat with her ex-husband.
Yes.
Whom we learn they have not spoken to one another in 5 years since their divorce.
And nobody knew they were married.
And nobody knew they were married. So to talk about that, we have to back up, friend.
Yeah,
let's go back into the past to this delicious meet cute on the airplane where Mellie and Aaron first meet. But before she gets to the airplane, she's a runaway bride.
She is a runaway bride.
Let's talk about this scene where she is a runaway bride. Paul, her expected husband, has kind of put her in a predicament of forcing her to choose between him and the business.
Yes.
He wants her to, she is devoting all of her time to the business. He doesn't like it, and so he wants her to step away, and that does not make her happy. And here comes Uncle Bear, sees that she's not happy. Let's talk about this scene.
Yes. She has reflected on Paul's request and decides the second she's walking down the aisle that she denies that request.
Yes.
And she wants to leave. And her Uncle Bear rescues her.
Supports with a credit card.
With a credit card. And she runs. At first I was panicked. I was thinking, oh my goodness, she's like going to talk to the guy that she left. He's not even her ex-husband. And then you start kind of getting these little bits of backstory, how Paul's mother is just like, oh, and she has this awful wedding dress and it's itchy. Of course it is. If your wedding dress is itchy, you should run then, because that's just a red flag. Okay? Your wedding dress should feel soft as butter. And so I love that she leaves. She's on a plane.
She boards a plane in the wedding dress. She takes the first flight out, which is to Vegas, ironically.
Is so funny to me. Can we just discuss the whole plane thing?
Let's
I know
do
that
it.
it kind of
It's
like,
fine. Well,
we don't get it all at one time.
Let's
We
tell
get
it
two
as
parts.
one story.
I love that she has to go to the bathroom and she cannot get, because I just picture this god awful wedding dress that's tulle and itchy, and she just wants it off, and you're in the airplane lavatory, and
which is a toothpick size.
Yes,
with
and I get like the accordion door where you just like trying to shut it and lock it. I could totally see this. I love that she's like, psst, to Aaron, And she's like, you got to come help me. I love that she makes him stand out there and
hold it closed
so that she can slip down into this. Thank goodness she has like a slip that looks like a dress.
Slip dress, basically.
And then they get out, but they have this
She wants him to undress her.
I know, the buttons. He has to undo all the buttons and stuff.
And then they stuff it in the overhead bin.
That is the best. I love when they sat down and there's like this joke at one point about the Mile High Club, not how they thought that they would do it and stuff. She's like, I don't think that's quite what that is, but you can't really count this. And I love that they make a list because he doesn't ever want to get married. She doesn't want to get married, obviously. Mm-hmm. And they have a napkin list of qualities for a partner. Mm-hmm. I love that they make this decision all of a sudden that they should get married. They're going to Vegas. And they should be married for 24 hours.
One of the things on the list is he wants someone adventurous. And so she throws out, we should get married for 24 hours. We're on our way to Vegas.
Yes.
He had made note of the fact that he was going to have some time there.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do a drive-through wedding.
This is the best to me. I love that they honeymoon to Maui. They stay married for
he extended it 5 days.
5 days. And then I love, too, we don't get this at first, but that they only kissed 3 times.
Yes.
But it was just conversation.
They hold hands some.
Yeah, but there's
dialogue.
no sex. It's none of that. They come home, they divorce, they go their own ways, and he says to her, or one of them says, I'll think about you every...
you'll never stop thinking about me.
You'll never stop thinking about me.
And they agree.
That was their final kiss.
Yes, and they agreed they will not talk to each other anymore. Yes. They wouldn't reach out. Their ties would be clean cut, and that's it.
Yes.
So imagine 5 years later, when she shows up looking fabulous, I might add.
Yes. At
this gala, and there's Aaron. Ooh, when they first caught eyes and she walks over to him, friend, I was smiling so big. I was so giddy for him in this moment, and her.
Their chemistry, right? I mean, it
was so good.
It was so good. Right up into the point where that chick slips her arm.
Fallon,
and kind of like...
dagger to the heart moment. Well, they were dancing, so let's back up just a little bit. There's the intense chemistry that they have. I love that they call each other husband and wife. That's so cute.
Nickname alert for that.
Yes. She wants to have a conversation with him, and he invites her to dance. So they move to the dance floor, and they're just having, like we said, this intense chemistry here. And it's in this moment that she briefly mentions Savant House is buying Artisant, and she lets him know she didn't know about this. He thought that she had been a part of the negotiations. He was wondering why he hadn't seen her or she hadn't shown up, because he was very much involved in this negotiation and agreement. I mean, he was not the acquisition manager anymore. He's a COO at this point, but he was very much aware of what was happening and wondering why she hadn't been present for any of the conversations. But it's at this point, like you mentioned, Fallon, lovely Fallon, shows up and throws the bomb that she's his fiance.
Yes.
And I was reeling a bit, friend, because
I was too.
I was real stressed. 5 years is a long time. And I could totally see the author going in this direction of having that angst lying.
I was angst out, fear in this moment. But the author quickly...
squashes that.
Yes, like right outside the doors, he says, no, we broke up. We're not getting married.
Yes, and I do like that he takes this opportunity. He wants another 24 hours with her. So they walk down and they're having coffee. And this is where they really start to get into the nitty-gritty of what has transpired. And she makes the comment, when we were in Vegas on the Ferris wheel, you told me if I ever needed any assistance in my business to reach out. So here I am reaching out to you. What can you do to help stop this sale?
Yeah.
And so he says he'll see what he can do.
Yes.
This is the start of their 24 hours, and they quickly progress to his place, and they sleep together.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. And they're kind of having a little bit of back and forth dialogue, and this is where the list comes up again. It's revealed that he took the list. It's in his little nightstand end table. He's kept it. He looks at it often. You can tell that it's wrinkled. He's definitely had hands on it multiple times, pulls it out, looks at it. And they make the comment that they set the bar so high. And she jokes and says, we should just get married. And he says, yes, well, she's joking. She falls asleep and he stays up all night and his head's just spinning and really mulling this over. And it's the next morning that he comes to her with a proposal. Let's talk about this plan to remarry as a way to stop the sale.
I'm so happy.
Oh, me too. You know I am.
I'm so happy. I love that she, like, he's made breakfast and he's, like, going to talk to her about this. And she is just like, what? Yeah. Huh? But I love that they very quickly come around to, this is a good idea. We should do this. We will both benefit from this. This isn't just her benefiting. He's going to benefit from it as well.
Yeah, they talk about the different details of how it's going to benefit one another, what the longevity will be for this, and kind of the terms of this. They have a no fraternization policy, and they're very strict on that. And so he feels like because she is very high profile in this contract negotiation, that if they find out that they're married, that they will renege on this contract. And so this is kind of his motivation. He has motivations also, which we don't learn about till later. We'll get into those. But she's feeling like this is a great idea. How can they say no to that?
I love that she thinks that they can make this work with her not staying there. And he says, no, you have to live here because it has to be convincing. And I'm furious the second she says we have to pull sex off the table. I'm like, what? After the night you guys just had?
3
Are you crazy?
Clearly that didn't last.
Yeah. I love that you can tell that he's just happy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is one of those things where I love these stories where it's just completely obvious. The guy is given her a lot of thought.
5 years worth of
He's
thought.
totally gone for this girl. And he sees this as his second opportunity.
Yes.
To...
I also want to...
I think I want to be with this lady, and I'm going to make this work into my favor. Yeah.
I also want to make mention of the fact that her cat Blueberry likes him
more
than her. I love it.
So funny.
You mentioned that she doesn't want to get married. Let's focus a little bit of time on Mellie's opinion on marriage and relationships and why she does not want to get married.
She has really bought into what her uncle has told her, that if you have a lot of ambition to go far professionally, that something will suffer. Either your work is going to suffer or your relationship is going to suffer, but you cannot have it all. And she believes that. She thinks that if she loves what she does, she wants to be the best at what she does, but she does not feel like she can find a partner who is going to support her ambition professionally and still give enough of herself to her partner. And she just believes that.
She has her parents' marriage as the example, which they work together and don't really talk to one another. They're very distant. She's using them as the example of, well, the reason, really.
Which is ridiculous because there's so much with that history of the relationship that she's looking through it through the wrong lens. It has nothing to do with they can't work together. It has more to do with all the other things that
she's not privy to yet on this.
Well, and some of it she is, but she's just she's not viewing it that way.
Yeah, she's very competitive with her personal ambition. She doesn't want to give that up, and so that is really molded and shaped her opinion on marriage and relationships, especially long-term ones. We've talked about them briefly, so let's just pivot over to Mellie's parents and their strained relationship, one, between themselves, the mom and dad, and then also between her and them. Let's talk about this, because, friend, this is where my angst was. I could not get past the fact that they would not communicate. And this is mostly Uncle Bear and the parents about the business, but I want to talk specifically about the parents too, because there's a lot of it was hard for me to connect with them because of the strained relationship between them. I mean, there's a scene where she rides in the elevator multiple times with her mom and doesn't even have any engagement at all. That did not compute with
They live in the same building.
I just can't process that very well.
I can't either. Are we going to unpack it all?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. what do we want to address first? Her
Let's
relationship or their relationship?
Let's talk about their relationship.
Okay, so they both got into drugs, which ironically, drinking drugs, ironically started because of Bear.
Mm-hmm.
But Melly does not know this yet. And the dad goes to prison, the mom goes to rehab. They left when she was 10. They come back when she's 16. She has to stay with her Uncle Bear. They don't want her to live with them. Her dad has gone on to have a gambling addiction that is
an obscene amount.
Debt. Into the millions. I was blown away when they say that. And also that is the reason they were selling the business.
Yes.
To help pay off, because Bear is trying to bail out his brother. Again, probably feels guilty for the road that they went down. Then Melly and her parents, Melly does not really understand, because she views her childhood as they had these great moments, and it's so heartbreaking to me because later she starts to reflect back on these really great memories that she has, and then she realizes they were so great because her parents were high. That they were never really there for her. And so she's always had this strained relationship of feeling abandoned by them. She doesn't understand that when they came back, they didn't want her. They don't want to know her. They don't engage in conversation with her. But really what it all stems down to, because later on, her and her mom finally do have a heart-to-heart because Melly can't take it anymore.
Yeah, she's had a handful.
And her dad is kind of having these tender moments a little bit with her, that she's
inviting her to lunch and doing different
she's
things.
Kind of like, what is going on? But she does it because she's just like one of those people that she's almost like a puppy waiting for anything, a morsel,
affection, anything
to fall from the table, anything. Okay, you're going to love on me. And she will go for it. She's just starved for their love. And her mom and her finally have a talk, and everything is laid out for her. And she finds out that it's because of guilt, that they felt so guilty. They felt like they had taken so much from her that they didn't want to disrupt her life and cause her, more whatever they thought that she would feel. And so they finally decide that they're going to work on it. But the mom also lets her know about the dad's gambling addiction and how she can't take it anymore.
And
it's too much, and they're separated. And Melly has kind of always felt like her parents needed to separate, but it's when you finally, all the cards are laid out on the table, that she can actually see her parents for who they are. I do love that they are trying to reconcile with where they're at. Like, it's like, I'm going to meet you where you're at now. But it was heartbreaking that the mom, I'm just thinking, for me as a parent, I can't imagine. And the only way I can even grasp this kind of treatment of a parent is the amount of guilt and the amount of shame that they feel. But then I feel like you are so selfish in that moment because you're allowing yourself, you're holding yourself back because you feel guilt and you feel shame. It's just me, and this is the way I feel. Instead of saying, okay, enough about me. I'm going to do everything I can to make this about her and what she needs. Be more selfless in that, but I kind of feel like her parents maybe don't understand the definition of that.
I think that's a very good point. One of the scenes that was really heartbreaking to me is when her and Aaron were on the sidewalk and her parents walked by and did not even acknowledge them, really, just to say hi, and that's it, and they walked on. And he quickly asked before they get there, what do you want to tell them about us? And she said, it doesn't matter, they won't ask about you. They don't ever ask about anything personal in my life. And then they basically proved that as they walked by, and it was just so heart-crushing to witness someone who, like you said, is so starved for their affection and their approval that she just wants even the smallest morsel, any crumb that they'll drop around her. It was very heartbreaking to watch. I was thankful in the end that she started making some headway with her mother, and that they ended up, you get the feeling that they're walking in the right direction on mending that relationship. On the flip side of that, we have Aaron's family.
Yes.
And he has very high expectations. We've talked about Fallon a little bit already. The expectation for Aaron and Fallon to get married, it was the safe option. It's what his family wanted. Fallon's very easy to be manipulated, and so it was very easy for her to be agreeable, even though she wasn't happy. That Aaron does tell Melly, that's the reason they broke up. Actually, it was Fallon who broke up with him or broke off the engagement because she wasn't happy. Of course, he agrees this is not I didn't choose her.
Right.
She was not my choice. So we have Aaron's family on the flip side of that with these very kind of upper scale kind of expectations for him to take over the business eventually. They're kind of molding him for that. And part of the strain in their relationship stems from the death of Aaron's brother. Let's talk about this. And we learn about it specifically because she asks what his tattoo means. There's a broken limb with a falling bird, and he tells her the story of his brother's death. Let's quickly talk about this.
So he had a brother. They were very close in age. That was his best friend. And they were going to have kind of an adventure climbing. And his brother, he falls. And it kills him. What is so heartbreaking to me is that you can tell his parents very much kind of blame him. And I say that because the mom says to her at one point, you are not his first big mistake.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. So he feels very much like anything to appease his family. I will marry Fallon if it will make them happy. I will take this role on in the business that my brother was going to take on if it will make my parents happy. He kind of feels
responsible,
obligated to follow in these footsteps because his brother is not there to do it because of him. Which it's not his fault. He slipped and then he accidentally knocked his brother and he fell. It was a tragic accident, but that is kind of the way their family operates. And his sister, she doesn't understand it because she just wants him to be able to tell his parents like how he feels, but he just kind of feels like he can't. He has to be the peacemaker and do the things to make them happy.
Yeah, and his mother spends a great deal of time interfering in their relationship. And I want to talk about this. There's a scene, one, she shows up to confront Melly. She wants her to sign a post-nup agreement, which she adamantly refuses to do. Good for her.
So proud of her. Because especially when Aaron runs up after that.
The pressure, just because of how manipulative she is over Fallon and all of Aaron's people in his life. I was very proud of her for choosing Aaron in that moment and saying this is disrespectful, basically. And I was glad that she was able to reassure Aaron that that's not something that she would be agreeable to. But she invites them over for dinner, and you talked about the brother. She brings out this picnic table and sets up all this his brother's
fried
favorite
chicken
food and all this.
Yeah.
And it's just blow after blow after blow. It was clearly a dinner designed to really hurt and wound Aaron in a very high way. And she did threaten Melly for not signing it. You're going to figure out the consequences of your actions. And it's at this dinner that the mom reveals the fact that Aaron got fired from his job, which was a little bit of his motivation for getting married to her. We find out he wanted that to happen. That was his motivation for agreeing to the marriage. But, my heart hurt for him so much, just having to sit through this dinner and be humiliated and just heartbroken for him. Moving over to, you've already talked about it, but Melly finds out the reason that they're selling is because Savant House is, because of the gambling debt, they're paying all that. And so, but not only that, they're going to level the building, which she wasn't expecting. She was expecting to still have just pay rent and things like that. Well, that's not going to be an option. And when she calls Aaron to ask him about it, she's furious because he knew all this time. He thought she knew, and it starts this whole fight with him. Well, she's ready for a divorce.
Yeah.
She goes to the place. She's packing up. He's coming home frantic. He's been trying to get a hold of her all this time. I loved this scene so much. It was so heartbreaking, but also restorative also, because he wants to know what her motivation is for the fight and the divorce. And she said why she's fighting so hard to keep this place, essentially. And she says, because it's the only family that I have. And he makes the statement, I will be your family if you'll have me. I loved him in this moment, Sarah. He was just so genuine and just really cares about her.
I know.
I loved it.
And she's running from it because of the bearisms.
I know. Well, I like that he quickly asks her to take a little trip with him. Mm-hmm. And he takes her to his building.
I know.
And Sarah, I love the scene because he has this building and he's set up this whole place for her to run the business and be a partner, a true partner with him.
Well, and he had been working on a table that she had done a tutorial, and he said, I didn't do a great job, but he's like, but your idea works.
Yes, because he used her tutorial.
Yes.
He had always wanted to do wood making, and so he was trying to work into that, and she has great ideas, and he's really good at the business side of things, and all she can focus on is they can't work together. You can't do love, you can't work together, all that. So she fights him on it a little bit. So she goes and has another conversation with her friend. Mm-hmm. And it's here that she agrees, okay, I can do this.
Yes.
We can be together. She's super pumped. She goes to tell Aaron. Lo and behold, she knocks on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Opens it up. And Fallon's there.
Well, I was startled because they separate very quickly. Him and Fallon were in an embrace. Fran.
Oh, were you so stressed?
I literally thought, I can't cover this book because they say Fallon's pregnant.
I thought, the pregnancy trope, I can't with this.
I was so ready to be done with this story at this moment because I was so stressed out. And I was also trying to do the timetable in my head of like,
me too.
What? And then I thought, you didn't even want to be with her, you know? But anyway, I'm not going to dig into that. But
she thought she was pregnant.
She was pregnant. She thought she was pregnant with Aaron's baby. Mm-hmm. And so Mellie files for divorce.
Yes, and he tries to explain. I know. He said, I don't want to be with her, but all Mellie can focus on is he's going to be a dad, and there's no room in my life for that, and I'm going to care for this baby because it's his, and I can't do that. Yeah. Oh, that rabbit trail that she went on, that was quite the spiral.
I was with her, though.
Oh, yeah.
The whole time I was right there. I would have literally done the same thing Mellie did. Mm-hmm. Absolutely would have done the same thing. Like, there's nothing that you could have done to change my mind or convince me.
There was not a sadder scene in my mind than when she served him the divorce papers.
I know.
And he was
just in agony.
Sad.
Yeah.
Oh, that was probably the bulk of my tears score, which was not high to begin with, but it was all in this scene right here.
Yeah, that one was a doozy. I just
felt the weight of his anguish.
I did too. So they go their separate ways. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For a little bit.
Yes. And it takes a little bit. She's later in the coffee shop with her friend, but she runs into his dad at this coffee shop. And this is the turning point for her mindset a bit. And it kind of sets her back on the right direction where she realizes that she does want a life in a business with Aaron. Let's talk about this scene before we wrap it up with our AGA.
I love that she got along with the dad and his wife. And I love that she kind of comes to the realization of, well, first we have to say that she had gone into a job at her friend's and she couldn't make it.
Yes.
She didn't want to do the job. She didn't
want
to be making somebody else's cabinets.
Things.
Yeah. And I was glad that was very short-lived. I love that she comes to the realization of, you know what? I love him no matter what. Even if he's having a baby with Fallon, he's made it clear he's not in love with Fallon. Fallon's not in love with him. They're not going to be a family in that aspect.
Yeah.
So she goes to his shop. Mm-hmm. And I love that she kind of just lays it all out. I have to say, I'm so relieved that Fallon was not pregnant with his baby.
Oh, me too. Oh, me too.
The sigh of relief I thought that was such a dirty, rotten trick that the author played on me, because I just felt like there's so much more to the story that it would have had to have been a longer story. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was glad for that to not happen and that not be their story. I love that their HEA just rounds out that they're gonna have this business.
I love that the dad was making her a desk or a table.
Her dad, ordered. Yes,
that he had ordered. That was very special.
It was.
I loved that.
And she's having that reconciliation with her parents and stuff. And I also love too that, as sad as it was for her family business to close, I love that she's on this new journey and this new adventure, that it's not tied to honestly kind of some negative memories, really, if she looks at it. Yeah. And that she's able to change her perspective on love and on marriage and life, and to have that with Aaron and the work and love relationship. And I think that it's one of those, it's that age-old question where, can you have it all? And can you balance it all? And I personally don't feel like we can ever find the perfect balance.
No. But you can find a good happy medium.
But I think you can
find life.
Yeah, I think you can have a happy medium. And I think that that's what Mellie needed to realize, that there is no such thing as having it all. Every little area of your life at some point or another is going to suffer. So
yes, you have to give and take a little bit.
You do. Yeah. And I think she learns that. So I loved this story. It was...
Me too.
It was fun. I loved the thought of somebody just meeting on a plane and getting married.
Yes.
After running away from their wedding. But
it was great.
It was a fun one. Well, that wraps up our discussion of Falling for You. Again, we hope you enjoyed it and want to continue the conversation with us. You can hit us up on Instagram at Postbook Depression Podcast, or on our Facebook at Postbook Depression Discussion Group. You can also email us at postbookdepressionpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, keep reading.